All right, folks, here's the real question we need to tackle. Was this Warriors season a success or a failure? On the surface, you might be quick to say it was a letdown. After all, they didn't make a deep playoff run, and the season ended earlier than expected. But if you peel back the layers and really look at how everything unfolded, from the hot start into the brutal slump, the mid-season shakeup, and the late surge, you'll see that this was one of the most roller coaster campaigns in recent memory, not necessarily in a bad way. Let's rewind the tape a bit. The Golden State Warriors started the season on fire. 12 wins, only 3 losses. They were sitting comfortably at the top of the Western Conference, and the fan base was buzzing. Steph was being Steph. Green was anchoring the defense, and the role players were stepping up. For a team that many doubted coming into the year, especially given the aging core and questions about roster depth, they came out punching. There was a lot of optimism, and frankly, it felt like the Warriors were setting the tone for another playoff run. But then reality hit, and it hit hard. They went into a mid-season tailspin. Injuries, inconsistency, and chemistry issues all started to bubble up. They were losing games they should have won, dropping to the 11th and 12th spots in the standings, hovering around a 500 record at 26 wins and 26 losses. That spark from the beginning of the season had fizzled. It looked like another lost year for a team that just couldn't figure it out. And let's be real, fans were frustrated, analysts were writing them off, and the locker room vibe seemed deflated. That's when everything changed. Enter Mike Dunleavy Jr. The man made a bold move, a seismic shift really. The Warriors went out and got Jimmy Butler. That's right, Jimmy Buckets, a player known for his intensity, leadership, and no-nonsense approach to the game. That move sent a message. The Warriors were not going to go quietly. They weren't mailing in the season. And what followed was one of the most impressive mid-season turnarounds we've seen in recent memory. With Butler in the mix, everything changed. The energy shifted. The team started winning fast. They went from a middling, inconsistent squad to one of the hottest teams in the league. Over their final 31 games with Butler, they posted 23 wins. That's not a small sample. That's nearly 2/3 of a season's worth of elite-level basketball. The defense tightened up, the offense found new rhythm, and the entire roster seemed reinvigorated. Jimmy wasn't trying to be the guy. He was the Robin to Steph's Batman, and that balance worked beautifully. Even Draymond Green found new life with Butler on the floor, playing some of his best basketball and finishing 3rd in Defensive Player of the Year voting. Now, let's not sugarcoat it. The season didn't end with a banner. They got bounced in the second round by the Timberwolves in just 5 games. And yes, that stings, especially when you consider that they had real momentum going into the playoffs and had just come off a gritty 7-game series against the Rockets. But here's the catch. They lost without their main guy. Steph Curry, the heart and soul of this team, missed significant time and wasn't at full strength when it mattered most. That's a game changer, literally. When he's on the floor, he alters everything: spacing, pace, confidence. And his absence against the Wolves was felt in every possession. Third quarters were brutal. The Wolves kept getting downhill, kept scoring, and the Warriors just couldn't stop the bleeding. It wasn't just about missing shots. It was about missing their leader. Look, people talk all the time about how injuries are part of the game, and that's true. But when you're missing your Hall of Famer, your MVP, your offensive engine, it's not a fair fight. Think back to 2022 when the Warriors beat the Grizzlies. Ja Morant was out, and it changed the series. Same story here, just in reverse. And even without Steph, they battled. Jonathan Kuminga, after spending time on the bench, came back and made a statement. Brandon Podziemski had flashes, although he didn't show up until Game 5. But the effort was there. The team didn't quit. They just ran into a better, healthier squad. Now let's talk about that regular season roller coaster. Remember that infamous final game of 2024, that choke job, the meme-worthy collapse that left everyone shaking their heads. That was the low point. 16 wins and 16 losses. December was a disaster at 4 wins and 9 losses. January wasn't much. Better, a pattern of win 1, lose 2, win 2, lose 3. It was the definition of inconsistency. The team just couldn't string together momentum. And then came the trade. Trading for Butler wasn't a no-brainer. Some people hated it. They wanted Kawhi Leonard, who ended up staying put. Others wanted Paul George, who went to the Sixers and struggled. There was talk about Lauri Markkanen, who didn't move either. All those options, size, shooting, versatility, were considered, and the Warriors went with Butler, a guy known more for toughness and leadership than spacing the floor. And it worked. Despite his age and wear and tear from long playoff runs, Butler came in and set the tone. He didn't try to take over. He fit in. That's rare for a midseason trade. You look at the numbers before and after Butler, and they tell the story. Before he arrived, the Warriors were one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the league at just 72%. That's unacceptable for a team with shooting pedigree. After Butler, 82%, that's a 10-point jump. Top 3 in the league. Free throws win games, and down the stretch, that improvement made a difference. They were closing out tight games because they weren't leaving points at the line anymore. 3-point shooting stayed relatively the same. 36% before and after Butler. Not elite, but solid. But the real concern was rebounding. Pre-Butler, they were top 5. With Butler, they slipped to 19th. Teams started playing big against them, and their guards weren't helping on the boards. Post and Jackson Davis were just too skinny to bang with the bigs. Looney as much. Hard as he has, just isn't moving like he used to. They need size. That's a fact. But somehow, even with that drop-off, they still finished top 7 in rebounding by season's end. A testament to effort and system. And what about assists? That's always been a Warriors' strength. Ball movement, unselfish play is their identity. Even with Butler, who's known for ISO-heavy sets, they remain top 4 in the league in assists. Why? Because Jimmy brought structure, not chaos. He slowed things down when needed, made smart passes, and helped create better shots for his teammates. The ball was still popping, even if the pace wasn't what we're used to seeing from this team. Turnovers, though? Still a problem. They hovered between 14th and 18th in the league, depending on the stretch. That's just too high. If they want to compete with the Denvers and Bostons of the world, that number has to come down. Sloppy passes, over-dribbling, all of it has to be cleaned up. That's the next step for this group. And let's not ignore the young guys. Jonathan Kuminga showed flashes, started strong, then faded after an ankle injury. He struggled to fit alongside Butler and Green, which led to some DNPs. But when he came back in the playoffs, he reminded everyone why he's so valuable. Athleticism, defense, and untapped potential. The big question now is whether the Warriors will pay him. He's going to command between $20 and $40 million on the open market. Can they afford that with Curry, Green, and Butler already eating up over $130 million combined next season? It's a tough call. Moses Moody had a solid regular season, but didn't translate it into the postseason. Quentin Post, a second-round pick, looked great in the G League and had his moments in the regular season, but in the playoffs, he looked overwhelmed. Kevin Knox was a nice surprise, from a two-way G League guy to contributing minutes. And Pat Spencer, another under-the-radar find, deserves more run. These are the kind of players that help stabilize a long season. But the Warriors are going to have to make decisions. GP2 is a defensive menace when healthy, but can they get more consistent production for the price? Same with Looney. Well, the effort's always there, but age is catching up. When it's all said and done, the Warriors finished with 48 wins. That's a far cry from where they were at the halfway point. 23 wins with Butler alone. From a team on the verge of falling into the lottery to one of the hottest squads in the league post-All-Star break. That kind of turnaround doesn't happen by accident. It's culture, leadership, and belief. And yeah, they didn't win it all. They didn't even make the conference finals. But considering the mid-season chaos, the injuries, the roster limitations, you can't look at this season as a failure. Not when you factor in everything this team went through and still managed to claw its way into the top half of the league. They found their identity again. They fought back. And even if they came up short, they showed heart. Now the question turns to the offseason. What happens next? Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. There has been a growing buzz in the basketball world surrounding Kevin Durant and his potential return to the Golden State Warriors. The speculation intensified recently when rumors surfaced suggesting that Durant, upon being invited back to the Warriors, reportedly declined, stating that it's not the right time to come back. This revelation has sparked a wave of discussions among fans, analysts, and insiders alike, adding a fresh chapter to the ongoing saga of one of the NBA's most talented and controversial players. Kevin Durant's departure from the Warriors in 2019 left a significant void, both on the team and in the league. During his tenure with Golden State, Durant was instrumental in securing 2 NBA championships, earning Finals MVP honors and cementing his legacy as one of the game's all-time greats. His silky smooth scoring ability, combined with defensive prowess, made him an indispensable part of the Warriors dynasty. However, the decision to leave for the Brooklyn Nets marked a turning point not only for Durant's career, but also for the Warriors' trajectory. In recent months, reports have hinted that the Warriors have been considering a reunion with Durant, hoping that the reunion could reignite their championship aspirations. However, the rumor that Durant himself has declined the offer, citing that now is not the right moment for a return, adds a new layer of complexity. Sources close to Durant suggest that the star is focused on his current team and personal goals, feeling that a comeback to Golden State might not align with his present circumstances or ambitions. This development comes at a time when the Warriors are navigating a transitional phase. With Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green still at the core, Golden State remains a competitive force, but has faced challenges maintaining their former dominance. The possibility of Durant rejoining could provide a significant boost, yet his apparent hesitation signals that the team may need to chart its course without him, at least for now. Durant's reluctance might also reflect broader considerations, including the impact of past injuries, team dynamics, and his own evolution as a player and leader. His journey since leaving Golden State has been marked by resilience and reinvention, including overcoming a major Achilles injury and adapting to different team environments. The timing of any potential move back to the Warriors is thus crucial, not just for Durant, but for the franchise and its fans. While the rumors continue to swirl, one thing remains clear. Kevin Durant's legacy with the Warriors is firmly etched in NBA history. Whether or not he decides to lace up once again for Golden State, his impact on the team and the sport as a whole will be remembered for years to come. For now, fans will have to wait and watch as this intriguing storyline unfolds, hopeful that the future may still hold a reunion, but only when the time is truly right. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.